So welcome to yet another video here on the channel. This time around we brought Matty's dirt jumper up here to beautiful New Hampshire at Highland Mountain Bike Park. We've been wanting to come here for such a long time and I'm glad we finally made it here because the trails are amazing, the jump lines are perfect, they even have stuff like this over here, and Matty's been killing it all morning. But I made the amateur move of filming once again with the lens cap on, so I got nothing to show for it. But the truth is, Matty was kind of getting held back, so why don't you tell him what was going on?
Yeah, so since I've had this bike, I never swapped out the straight cable that I had on here, so it's kind of limiting me from doing more tail lifts, more bar spins, and the variations that I want to do. So luckily, I did bring my parts with me, so I figured we should probably go upgrade my bike.
Mosquitoes, sorry, go ahead.
Before we get back to filming the next session when Scotty actually takes the lens cap off.
Yeah, so that's the game plan right now. We're going to soup up the bike, and we're going to remember to take this thing off, and then Matty's going to be bringing the big tricks. So we actually talked to one of the maintenance guys here, and he said there was a garage that we can borrow where we can set Matty's bike up, we can fix it, we'll show you all the parts we're putting on it, and then we're going to get back on the course and film the bangers. So let's go make it happen.
So we're in the garage, we've got all the stuff we could possibly need to upgrade this bike right now. And you guys have seen the bike check on my Mongoose Fireball, and this bike is really, really cool. And it's honestly, it's great just the way it comes, but there is some things that I bought just to upgrade the bike, really just for my own preferences. So I ended up getting a bunch of Untitled mountain bike parts, which I'm pretty hyped up on. And I'm gonna show you as we go through it step by step. So I ended up getting a bunch of parts, and I ended up going for the Untitled reform bars, and I got these because they are insanely unique. I love bike parts, I love quality bike parts, and when I saw the build of these handlebars, they've got flat pieces on them with real tube. It's just so unique, and I really, really like them.
Yeah, I'm assuming that the flat corners are probably for strength, right? Like you would think that, so, like, yeah, those corners make the, I don't know, handlebars stronger. I'm assuming from bending.
Yeah, that's and there's a reason they did it, I'm sure. So I just really like the way they look. And then I got the Untitled stem. It's similar size and everything, but I really just like the way it looked and the attention to detail.
What size is that thing?
This is a 40 millimeter stem. So
why does it say 35 on the side of it?
Then it's a 35 millimeter stem.
Wow.
The 35 millimeter stem, and that one was a 40 millimeter stem. That's why.
Okay, all right. I hope so.
Don't put me on blast like that, Scott.
But it's a pair of handlebars isn't going to change anything, though. So what else you got?
Let me show you what else I got. I got a seat.
Okay.
And that's also not going to really change anything, but I really like the way the seat looked.
Okay, well, the seat looks good. It's a railed seat. You can see it's got the two rails on it.
Okay, the main stuff, Scott, the stuff I really need to change is I got a gyro for this bike, which I am stoked on. So check this out.
The G1, I'm guessing?
This is the Untitled G1 gyro. And this is an oversized gyro specifically built for dirt jumpers and other types of mountain bikes. So it comes with your gyro, comes with your sweet gyro plate, which is just super machined.
Yeah, it looks nice.
Just looks really high quality.
What is that?
And then your tabs plate. So you could actually put that under your headset and on your frame if your bike does not have built-in gyro tabs. But the Mongoose comes with built-in gyro tabs, which I don't think a lot of bikes do. So that's really cool and super convenient.
It really is convenient.
So we cut out that part, and we're just going to be using these two.
Okay, cool. So we got to put the stuff on. You're going to be a full-on tail bar spin guy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you have something in here.
Well, yes. I just got the specific cables.
Whoa.
For this bike, because mountain bikes are a little bit different sizes, so you do need some specific pieces to make this work.
So it's just lower and upper, is that what it is?
Yeah,
basic, just like a BMX gyro.
Upper and a lower cable.
Just bigger kind of cables.
Bigger sizes,
and
I think.
Whatever.
That's really it. I don't think there's too many other differences.
So I guess it's time to start taking apart this Fireball over here. Every time I say it, I just say it in Pipple's voice. Fireball. That's what's in my head every single time. All right, let's do it. First things first, time to cut all the zip ties off the bike that's holding it onto the frame. Mongoose has a really, really nice setup for the cables. You can see there, it's got these little indented welded on pieces that hold it into place. So the cable's not gonna be loose and all over the place, which is really nice. But so this is mechanical.
This is just mechanical disc brakes. I decided not to do hydraulic because they're a little bit more maintenance. I don't know. I think just because if I beat up my bike and something happens, I don't really know how to bleed brakes, to be completely honest. So I didn't want to mess with that.
Then we'd have to fly Brooklyn out here.
Yeah. And then I would also need a hydraulic gyro, which looked a little hectic to hook up.
It's a 4, that's a 5.
It's a 4.
Yeah, these right here, these bolts right there, those are 4s.
So now I know, that's a 4.
Okay.
But I decided to go, yeah, mechanical just because just like a BMX bike, and I just know it's easy to work on just in case anything happens.
So Matty's going to be running a front brake with this gyro, and for all of you that are wondering, a front brake doesn't need to go through a gyro. The front brake actually goes through the center of the bike, goes through the center of the fork, and now everything spins at the same time, meaning the fork, the brake, that's all connected to the same thing, so when that spins, nothing gets binded up. But you have to drill out that cap, and that's what Matty did.
Some caps work, some caps don't, but you can just drill through just about any cap. It's not a big deal at all. And put your front brake right on through. And I just like the front brake just for spinning, suey tricks. And then just in case I'm in the skate park, nose picks are always fun to mess around on and to challenge your friends to do.
That's true. So now, what's the top cap? Is that a 6mm or a 5?
That should be a 5.
Because the 5 is also the brake levers that need to come off too, right?
Yes.
So loosen up this cap right
Loosen
here.
that up. Good.
Now, does this thing have a star nut in it, or does it have a...
This has a star nut, so it's not basically doesn't have any threads inside of the fork, which means you have to install a star nut, and then a little bolt just tightens right into it to keep all your headset tight.
Okay. And now these brake levers, these are BMX brake levers. These are not mountain bike oriented brake levers. Matty did this for preference reasons.
These are just normal Odyssey mono levers. So I just like the way they feel, and I'm used to them on a BMX bike, so I wanted these on my bike specific. So we got our front brake unhooked, and now we'll unhook our back brake.
Are the mountain bike brakes, do they have a, what do you call this? I'm going blank right now. Bum, bum, bum,
hinge?
bum, bum. A hinge.
From what I've seen, a lot of them don't, which is kind of weird.
That is.
But that's also something really convenient about the Odyssey levers, is that they have a hinge in them, so you don't have to slide your grip off every time you want to take a brake lever off.
I'm sure it makes it heavier though, having the hinge system. That's probably
I guess
why.
there's a couple more moving parts, but it doesn't bother me. I like it. So I'm also going to just unhook my rear cable real quick, just by loosening up the 5mm bolt.
Oh, that was easy.
Back brake is completely unhooked. And then front brake, same thing. Same exact brake and everything.
So why do you have to unhook the front brake?
Because we need to pull the stem and handlebars off and get the gyro plates on and everything. So you have to unhook the front brake because your lever can't go through here and everything can't get over your lever.
That's all attached and it won't fit through there.
Yes. So once we unhook our cable, we should just be able to slide everything right on through. Front brake unhooked.
Easy.
And then we'll just literally hook it back up as it was. So next we're gonna take our top cap off just by loosening the 5mm bolt up top. Top cap is off. Handlebars and stem will pop off. So then we have our brand new handlebars and stem. And we also need our gyro and our gyro plate. So basically your gyro is gonna sit on top of your...
That's a big gyro.
It is a big gyro, but it should work pretty dang good. So it's gonna sit right on top of your gyro tabs. And then you just have to make sure that, sorry, that's the cable. You have to make sure that your gyro plate, once you put it on, still has enough room for your stem to clamp on. So because of the gyro plate, I didn't take off any spacers, so you can see that the fork tube does not reach. You want it to be at least halfway on the top bolt.
And look at, yeah, because especially when you have a stem that's missing parts like that.
Yeah, you don't want that.
It just would rock back and forth and break off.
Yeah, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take off at least this big spacer. So now when we put our gyro plate on, you can see
that's not enough. Oh, no, yeah, there we go. I was gonna say, that didn't look good for a
now you
second.
can't see the top of it, so
Okay.
that's good.
Wow.
Just gonna straighten this up, and then put our top cap bolt back in. Actually, we're gonna pull this plastic out. Okay.
Now, are you gonna have some issues getting your brake cable through again? Like, is it kind of hard to do?
It's not terrible. If if I can get the plastic out. So I can show you the easiest way to do it. We put it through first.
Put what through first?
So we put it through our little top cap first.
All right.
Just so we can guide it through. Basically, I just drilled a little spot in the star nut. It's not recommended, it's not perfect, but I worked at a bike shop. You'll be right. So we're just gonna place it through there, place our cable through until it pops out
And
the bottom.
there it is.
And once we pull it, we're gonna go to the back of the fork because that's where our little zip tie mount is, and the brake is on the back of the fork.
Too easy. Let's get that bolt that you dropped. You're gonna need that in a second.
Thank you. Now we're just gonna drop our bolt in and tighten the headset up.
It looks really clean already. Man.
It does look sick.
Yeah, it does. Wow, these handlebars are extremely wide though.
They are wide.
I figure we're gonna talk about that.
I would say 800 millimeters. I believe that's millimeters.
Yeah, he's looking at the...
From Canada, so
top
they
of
do
it.
millimeters. No, I don't know if that makes any sense. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding, guys.
I'm pretty sure it's millimeters. That's what that is, right?
That's stuff that we don't look at. We measure our handlebars in inches. So on my BMX bike, I ride 27-inch wide bars. So I don't know if that's going to correspond properly, but I would really like to cut these bars to something close, so that if I bar spin this and I bar spin my BMX bike, they won't be too far off. So now that the headset's snugged.
And it's also going to pull even lower onto the fork to make sure it's safe.
Yeah, basically as you keep tightening up your headset bolt, it's going to compress everything. So we should be at a really good spot. The fork should be at a really nice spot inside of the stem. What we'll do is we're just going to pull our cable out enough to put our front brake somewhere close. I love dropping bolts.
Yeah, it's so much fun. It's human, man. It's just how it is.
We're just going to drop our bolt through, and I'm just going to snug it up in a just similar spot that I would put it, or something close. It does not need to be perfect because we're going to have to adjust everything.
Especially if you have to cut these bad boys.
We are going to have to cut them.
We're going to have to talk to the maintenance guy and see if he has any tools to be able to do it.
We probably use a chainsaw.
He might have a chainsaw,
There's
yeah.
definitely a chainsaw here, so we'll just use a chainsaw. We're not going to make the bars that small, but... Okay.
But we don't recommend ever using a chainsaw to do that. It's just
Not use a
Matty's.
chainsaw to cut your
Matty's desperate, and he's a professional.
Professional bar cutter. All right. So the front brake cable could just be about as tight as I can make it to keep it out of the way. Does not matter at all. Now, this is where it gets fun. To hook up the gyro cables. Well, actually, I need a brake.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're missing the main thing for that first.
Let me get that brake lever over here. All right, so we've got our brake lever. Super easy to unhook. You just line up your slots, and then you can pull your brake through, and then you slide it out the back. Now we have a free brake lever. Just gonna put it in this vicinity. Snug it up. All right. Now we're hooking up our gyro. And our top gyro cable, as you can see, there's one shorter and one longer. The longer side is going to go to the farther side away from the lever. So we want to hook it up kind of exactly as is. Just going to put it down to get it in the back of our lever. Hook it in here.
But mountain bikes, they go over the top of the handlebar, right? Is that what it is?
So they're going to go right over the top like this. Like so. And then basically you just take the end of your cable, you drop it through your gyro plate, and then you're just going to tighten your bolt on.
Tightening up the other side, because you know, the fun part is I mean, I guess you always say the fun part when it's not really fun. Talking about doing the cables and adjusting the brakes. I've never done a gyro on a disc brake before, so I'm curious to see if it's easier or harder than a BMX bike. because it pulls from the same spot. It doesn't, you can't adjust either side, so you don't have a bunch of barrel adjusters. I'm assuming you only have, what, the 2 top ones?
There's 2. Then there will be 2 on the bottom.
Is there, on the bottom right there. Okay.
And then really not even one all the way in the back. So you're kind of just going to adjust it from...
Only at the top
yeah,
where
just
the
pretty
gyro
much
is?
at the top, yeah.
Whoa, that's
There's not
really
going to be too much
interesting.
adjustment with it. Should be all right.
Let's get a aerial view.
So we're just going to get those hooked in right there.
So that's what the handlebar setup's going to look like?
That's kind of going to be the setup.
Both
pretty
cables
dang
crossing
close to it.
over the top and then going down. It looks pretty good.
You just eventually just straighten out your gyro plate, hook it in the gyro just so you can see that your length is all good, and then really just go from here. So now we're just going to hook up our bottom cables before we start adjusting anything at all. Do not adjust until you have everything hooked up. So 1 on one side, does not matter where they go, but 1 on one side, 1 on the other.
Yeah, these are the same. They're equal on both. So. But yeah, I'm noticing that the dirt jumper cables are drastically longer than the BMX ones.
Oh yeah, it's a huge difference.
Well, I'm saying not like just a full length from top to bottom, but from the end of the barrel adjuster to where the NARP ball is.
They just put a little more cable for you. Just there's a lot of gyro movement on these bikes, it seems like.
It's that time. Looks like the maintenance guy is bringing the lawnmower out, cleaning up the area real quick.
We appreciate you doing that. Thank you.
So I think we might check out for a little bit until he finishes up what he's doing. So we'll be back. After the maintenance break, Matty made a little bit of progress. He's got the top cable in place, but now he's got to add the bottom end of the cable. Now you see that piece that he's about to cut. He just measured it out. Any second now he's gonna cut it. You want me to cut it for you?
He's been cutting too many branches with these.
Maybe. You want? I might have. I have a pair. Sorry, I can see if the maintenance guy has a pair. That's not good.
These are what he gave me, dude. These might work.
No way. All right, let me go ask him. Hold on, I'll be back. Walk over. Hey, Kenny. Kenny. Do you have any wire cutters? We're using it for like a bike brake cable. Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
Those will work.
here we go. Try these.
Check them. Perfect. That is what we need.
All right, Kenny came through. Oh, wow.
That felt good. That felt very good.
Huge shout out to Kenny, maintenance guy.
So basically we need to measure our bottom cable. Bottom cable is going to go from the inside of this metal piece, wherever it kind of lands.
Did you say measure it? I thought you just cut it.
No, I did, but I was saying when you measure it. You basically want to get it from this metal piece, and then you want to pretend as if you're putting it through all your cable stops, because that's going to take up more and more cable. So it looks like we should have a little extra, which is definitely the goal. You don't want to cut it too short, I promise.
You want that much extra though? That's a good amount of extra. Is it gonna bubble up? You don't really have much area for it to go. Well, I guess it can go up that way.
I'll cut a little off. And you probably shouldn't ever eyeball anything when you cut it.
What does that mean?
You know, always measure it before you cut.
Boom.
All right.
'Cause then you got to make multiple cuts like we did.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, it's good to be too long than to be too short.
That's for dang sure.
It's a lot harder to put stuff on than it is to take stuff off.
You can get a cable housing extender. It basically just puts two housings together. You just have to ask for it at your local bike shop. Ask Brooklyn, he'll have it.
Yeah, that's Brooklyn.
So if you cut your housing too short, just ask Brooklyn. Now we have our housing on, so now we're gonna put our cable
So
through.
this is the fun part. This is getting to that part that I was very curious to see how this goes. Like, I know how to do BMX brakes. I don't know how to do mountain bike stuff though.
Shouldn't be a ton different though. Alright. Now we just make sure that all our pieces are inside of our gyro. And then we're just gonna pull our brake just a little bit tight for now. So we'll just pull up on it, make sure the cable will at least grab the brake, and then we'll adjust. Dude, they do so much landscaping.
Yeah, but it looks great though. The place looks amazing.
It looks amazing.
It does look great. Yeah, so he'll be done shortly, guys. Don't worry. I mean, it's nice enough to let us use this garage area, so I'm not going to complain much. So how do your brakes feel already?
Well, they work.
Do they work?
They work. I did 0 adjustment, and they work.
So now what? What are you going to do?
So there's a couple things that the way I would set up a brake. First, make sure that your back wheel, at least for a disc brake, make sure your back wheel is exactly where you want it. So make sure it's straight. Make sure your chain is at the right tightness. Make sure all that stuff is correct before you make any adjustments, because now everything you do will affect your braking system. Back wheel feels okay. That should be all right. Chain is tight. So now, I like the amount of pull. I don't mind that too much, but I just need to figure out how to take a little bit of movement out of the lever.
There's a little bit of dead cable area. A little bit of
dead cable, so I would extend it from here if I can.
So if you tighten that one out right up at the top that Matty just did, that should get rid of the cable play a little bit.
Pulls out that play. You could do it from the lever as well.
Yep, you got a couple different options. You could do it from the lever, you know, definitely the lever or the top one, or you could even do those ones that are attached to the gyro, but I would definitely start at the top.
When you hook up your bottom cables into your tabs, the best thing to do would be to put your adjusters flat with the top of the adjuster, or with the top of the tab.
Yeah, you don't want them sticking out.
Because that allows your gyro to go all the way down. And if your adjusters are sticking up too far, they could hit the gyro sideways and stuff and basically mess up the way that your gyro spins. So this is always a good place to start, is just level them out with the top of your tabs.
Cool.
And then the top ones, I usually just put all the way down. They need a little bit less movement in the beginning until you start to like really adjust everything. Because we're gonna need to adjust our gyro flop in a second. Once I make sure everything's hooked up properly, and that's kind of the most annoying part for sure.
Okay.
So
noted.
Feeling the brakes, they feel pretty decent. They feel powerful and everything, but with the disc brake, you need to make sure that you don't tighten them up too much, or else they're gonna grab the brake before the wheel even starts spinning, before you grab the brake, and we need to check that.
So it's not rubbing yet, right? I don't hear anything.
Doesn't sound like it's rubbing.
Ooh,
I heard that a little bit.
There's a little squeal.
So that's touching just a hair.
Just a hair. Where? But where? How do you adjust that?
So you need to look in it from the back. And basically you have 2 bolts. So you have your top bolt and your lower bolt. And if you loosen one at a time, you can move just the back of the brake or the front of the brake to align it with your disc. Like an easy rule of thumb would be just loosen up both. A good place to start, I should say, would be loosen up both just a little bit.
And it's very, very minor movements.
Like extremely minor.
There's really not much to work with.
If you loosen up both,
you can see the brakes actually flexing while he does that.
So it should feel pretty loose right now. Loosen up both, and then grab the brake and snug your bolts back up. And that'll put it at a decently even spot. You should need minor adjustment after this.
I don't hear anything. That looks good.
It's definitely pretty close. So if anything, you can always adjust that later on. If you're super particular about it, then basically you just need to stare in from the back and adjust either the front or back to make sure that your pads aren't rubbing the disc.
Yeah, I think it looks pretty good.
It's just really how tedious you are.
Because this is sure is taking a while. It's taking a lot longer than I imagined it would. So
we're running out of.
It is daylight savings time, so we got to keep that in mind.
So they work, no doubt about it.
Awesome.
They're on.
That's good news.
So next thing would be.
Last thing you want to do is be going down a mountain, and your brakes don't work.
We do not want that to happen. So I'm just gonna show you.
So So we're looking at gyro flop now.
Really, the one thing we'd be looking for would be gyro flop. And there's not a whole ton of it, so.
It's fairly smooth. I feel like it's dragging a little bit.
It's dragging because we have the cable so tight. Basically, because we have room down here and we have so much room up here, it's pulling the gyro apart. Basically, loosen and tighten your cables until it doesn't. It's terrible to do. It's not a fun aspect. Another way to stop gyro flop would be let your gyro rest on top of your adjusters. I don't like to do that in the beginning, like an initial setup, but if you want to stop your gyro flop, every now and then you could just tighten up your bottom adjusters until it touches the bottom of your gyro, and it'll stop your gyro from flopping
For the
all over
most part, right?
Yep. And it's just an easier way to do it without knowing too much.
But you have to have the right situation to do it.
But
Cool. What's your next move?
Like
What's your?
works.
We got the gyro working.
So I'm gonna hook up front brake now because that one's still out of the way.
Yeah, he still has it undone. So.
And then put my brake levers where I want to.
Cool. Let's do it.
And then zip tie my cable back up because that'll also make your brakes feel a lot better.
True. You want to make sure that they are secure against there because they will get rid of the flex.
Where did he put those zip ties?
I don't know. I think.
Let me go take a look.
I think there's some over there. If you're taking a quick break, Matt got his brake levers all adjusted. His angles are all good, and he ended up putting on the new seat. New seat looks really nice. I think it's definitely adding to the bike. Makes it look a little bit more aggressive.
I feel like I'm part of the community now, you know?
Do you really think so?
That's just how I feel, you know? I just feel like after having all this hooked up, I now have a gyro on my bike.
Yeah, your bike looks official now.
It's complete, you know?
It looks so much more aggressive.
The possibilities are endless.
It really is. It's crazy.
I'm gonna have to live up to some tricks though. So
Yeah,
the
you
next
will.
session should be pretty sick.
Moving on to the next project, figuring out how to cut these handlebars.
Yikes.
Because you can clearly see that these are, I don't know, I would say about at least an inch on each side. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's too wide because if Matty's doing these multiple bar spin combinations now that he has his gyro, that could be that could be some issues. So, but now we have a predicament because we don't have anything to cut these handlebars. So we need to go find something to cut these handlebars, and I don't know. There's no way he can ride with these handlebars the way that they are. It would be unsafe. So
let's go ask what's his name.
we're gonna go on an adventure right now, and we will check back in a little bit after we get these handlebars cut. If no, I'm just kidding. We will. We'll figure it out. Chainsaw, here we come. Are you kidding me, dude? It is pitch black out right now.
Is anybody riding?
No, there's nobody riding, man. I don't even think the mountain's open anymore. Oh, let me get my light.
How long did that take?
Let me get my light. Hold on. It's hard. It's pitch black. Just give me a second. There we go. Jeez. Dude, how did you
I got the bars cut finally. I didn't think it took that long.
Oh my god, that's ridiculous. All that just to waste a day here at Highland.
And we have a flight out.
There's no way we're going to be able to ride anymore tonight. That's ridiculous, man. I don't even know what to say. That's just embarrassing. Get all the way over here, film with the lens cap on, get an awesome bike. I mean, your bike's ready to go.
Oh, it feels so good, too.
I wish that tomorrow was going to be open, but man, we blew that one, so.
I guess we'll have to come back next year.
I guess we're going to have to come back next year, because it is the end of the season now. That was the last day of the year, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think there's going to be 4 feet of snow tomorrow.
Probably. I mean, look at it. The stuff is like almost dead behind you. It's like barely even alive. That's ridiculous.
What a bummer.
It looks like the Blair Witch Project here, but no, we just absolutely ruined our time here at Highland. Not because Highland, no, Highland was awesome, especially Kenny, the maintenance guy, for letting us use that garage and being able to work on it, but it looks like we're going to be wrapping this one up. So I hope you all enjoyed this dirt jumper video of installing the new parts. It's a shame we weren't able to ride here, but the good news is to Florida, and we're going to go to Markham Park, the place that Matty rode last week. I'm going to bring a bike in there too, so I can film it a little better, and yeah, we're really excited about it. So that's going to be the next dirt jumper video you guys will see. So guys, that's it for this one. I'm sorry we once again blew it, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.